You know those letters that drip with fake courtesy, the kind where every word feels like a smirk? That's how this whole saga kicked off. A slick envelope with a silver oak logo landed in my mailbox, and inside was a message that boiled down to, "Hey, your entire existence clashes with our vibe, so kindly vanish." It was wrapped in corporate jargon and syrupy pleasantries, but the nerve of it burned. My name's Ethan Caldwell, and I live on what used to be called Pine Hollow Ranch. It's been in my family for over a century, 300 acres of sweeping hills, a dense pocket of woods, and a creek that hums when the breeze hits just right. My great-grandfather laid the foundation of our house with his own hands. My dad took his first breath in the upstairs bedroom, and I was roping calves before I could spell my name. So when the shiny new Silver Oaks HOA decided my land was incompatible with the community's refined vision, let's just say I didn't take it lying down. At first, I thought it was a prank. Their offer? A pathetic $210,000 for 300 acres of fertile soil, water rights, buildings, and a legacy carved in sweat and time. That wasn't an offer, it was an insult. But it wasn't just the number that got under my skin. It was the arrogance, the assumption they were doing me a favor by trying to wipe out 100 years of history for their spin classes and tennis courts. The mastermind behind this was Claire Thornton, the HOA president. Picture a woman who'd fine you for a blade of grass out of place, armed with a monogrammed notebook for tattling on neighbors. I pegged her the second she pulled up in her gleaming black SUV, dressed in what had to be $400 yoga gear, flashing a smile that could slice through steel. She leaned on my gate with that practiced charm that screams, "I'm already bracing for your defiance." "Mr. Caldwell," she said, "your ranch is quaint, no doubt. But our community thrives on harmony and elegance. A cattle operation just doesn't fit the Silver Oaks aesthetic." Then she slid their final offer across. I didn't flinch. "Ma'am," I said, "my herd's got more sense than that figure." Her smile twitched just a hair. That tiny crack told me Claire wasn't used to hearing no. And so the war began. It started small. Complaints about offensive cow smells, even though my cattle graze miles from their manicured lawns. Reports of disruptive noise that turned out to be my porch wind chimes. The real kicker? A citation for aesthetic discord because native wildflowers, vibrant lupins, and firewheels dared to bloom along our shared fence. Apparently, they clashed with the HOA's approved beige mulch. I started logging every move they made, every letter, every complaint, every veiled threat. Call it the auditor in me. I like my proof airtight and dated. Claire had no idea I wasn't just some grizzled rancher clinging to dirt. I was a man with a filing cabinet and a grudge. Then one day, I caught a surveyor skulking along my fence. Young, jittery, he mumbled something about Claire hiring him to verify boundaries. I asked if he knew he was trespassing on private land. He went scarlet, packed his gear, and bolted. I jotted it down. Every step Claire took, I cataloged, because something told me this wasn't just about her precious few. She wanted my land bad. What she didn't know was that my great-grandfather, Amos, wasn't just a rancher. He was a razor-sharp deal-maker. One night, rifling through his old files, I found a gem, a leather-bound lease agreement with a developer called Crestwood Properties LLC, dated 1987. My pulse raced as I read. Before Silver Oaks was a twinkle in some tycoon's eye, Amos had leased 80 acres of our southern land to Crestwood for 99 years. The terms were crystal. The Caldwell family owned the land outright, and the leaseholders know the Silver Oaks residents were tenants. Their pristine streets, matching mailboxes, and cookie-cutter homes, all built on our soil. The lease had teeth, two rules against harassing the lessor, clauses banning interference or nuisance, and penalties for hostile engagement. Claire's letters weren't just petty anymore. They were a legal landmine. I called my old friend Laura Hensley, a retired property lawyer who now untangles zoning messes for kicks. She read the lease, let out a slow whistle, and said, "Ethan, Claire's dancing on a bear trap and doesn't even see it." We spent 2 weeks crafting a plan not to sue, not yet, but to stage a knockout. You only get one shot with a card like this, and I wanted it to sting. Meanwhile, Claire upped the ante. A certified letter arrived with a new, generous offer $320,000 in the spirit of unity. It came with a warning. Non-compliance could trigger lawsuits or code enforcement audits. In other words, we'll bury you. That's when I knew it was time. The HOA called an emergency meeting at their community Centera place they called the Pavilion, though it looked like a corporate lounge dipped in soulless gray. Laura and I strolled in 10 minutes late, just as Claire was mid-tirade about obstinate landowners and the HOA's need to explore all remedies. I tipped my hat and said, "Funny you mention remedies, MS. Thornton, we've brought a few ourselves." The room went dead silent. Laura passed out copies of the lease highlighted, annotated, and notarized. We laid it out plain. Silver Oaks sat on Caldwell land. The HOA's antics trespassing, threats, badgering violated the lease terms. We could, if we wanted, terminate it and open a legal review. Claire's face drained faster than a cracked dam. A resident, maybe a nurse, stood up, voice shaking. "Are you saying you could evict us?" Laura was cool as ice. "The Caldwell Trust has no plans to displace anyone," she said. "But your HOA's leadership has put your homes at risk. That stops now." The fallout was swift. Claire resigned 3 days later. Her exit splashed across the HOA newsletter like a scandal. The board issued a groveling apology and begged for a meeting to realign terms. I didn't demand the stars. I asked for respect. We revised the lease, adding an annual ground rent that funds local farming and ranching programs. Silver Oaks kept their tennis courts. I got my quiet and a reminder that history, tucked in a dusty drawer, can pack a hell of a punch. Now I sit on the HOA board not voting, just advising. They even replanted my wildflowers, bigger and brighter than before. Funny how fast people change their tune when the ground they stand on isn't theirs. It's a strange twist, going from the guy they tried to steamroll to the one holding their lease. Not out of spite, but principle. I don't want their houses, their lawns, or their sterile sameness. I just want them to know some roots run too deep to be paved over. So, tell me, ever seen someone with a sliver of power go way too far? An HOA tyrant, a petty manager, someone who thought their pen was a scepter? Share your story. I've got coffee in time. And if this tale of legal payback and quiet justice hit the mark, give it a nod and check your own property lines. You never know what's waiting to bite back.